Hello, soulmates, and welcome to our 2-year podcast anniversary party. I am your co-host, Meg Casewalt.
I'm Nikki McKnight.
And we're here to celebrate 2 years.
It's my longest relationship, Meg.
Full calendar years of podcasting. 104, more than 104 episodes, because we released some at the beginning.
This is, I think, going to be episode 108.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
The 2-year anniversary is cotton. It doesn't work as well as last year when year one was paper.
No, not as much. I was like, cotton. There's too many implications there I don't care for.
I know. I was thinking that, especially after watching Sweet Home Alabama earlier this year. I'm like,
that is the movie that just won't go away. We just keep referencing it. Like, oh my God, in Sweet Home Alabama. Yeah, it's happening.
I should let you know, my best friend told me that she only listens to the movie episodes because she doesn't read a ton of romance, but she knows the movies. And she was like, the fact that Nikki had you fully convinced by the end of the episode that you now hate it was perfect.
You're welcome. I feel like I've done a service then to the world.
We're just bringing out the actual thematic problems in all of these beloved movies. It's a great way to spend our time. So we have so many things to share with y'all today. We want to do some reveals of some new things that we've rolled out, some retrospectives, and I have some stats that I'm going to run by Nikki and see if she can make some educated guesses about what we have accomplished in the past year. And then we'll talk about kind of the year ahead and what we want this to look like and how we want you, our soulmates, to be a part of it. So we'll start with this. Nikki, we changed our tagline and all of the ways that we describe what we do.
It's very true. We niched down, we finessed it. It's more than just like a thing that we talk about now. It's like I feel like that was a good turning point for us, because for those of you who have been here since the beginning, when we met at this event like 2.5 years ago, probably
November it was just of 2024, right?
Yeah, it was just like we just want to talk about the weird shit that we were reading, and then Meg has since made me read way weirder shit. If for those who've been around for 2 American Thanksgiving episodes, y'all know what I am talking about: Veggie Tales and priests. But it was like,
sentient objects, all of the above.
Yes, I stand corrected. Thank you very much. 25 foot tall skeletons were involved at some point, and ampersands. We discussed the anatomy of an ampersand, and does it or does it not have a clit, and where might that be?
It has a little flourish right there at the end.
There you go.
The serif ampersand in particular.
Yeah, but like when we started it, we were just kind of like, I don't know, we just want to like talk about stuff, and then as we kept going, we're like, but like, how do we finesse this a little bit more? How do we get more specific? And for those, both of us are business owners, both of us are entrepreneurs. Meg is more into the marketing side of things, but it's, why is our show different? Like, what makes us unique? Why should people give a shit? I hope you give a shit, because we're delightful human beings, but also like, what is this bringing to the table? And I was talking with Meg that so many of my favorite shows are very, very clear on like their positioning. I often reference, I hate it, but I love it. It's the pop culture and movies you love and hate simultaneously. I've talked about The Villain Was Right, where they look at movies and TV shows from the villain's perspective and dare to ask, were they really all that wrong? Right? So always like, what does that look like for us? And I think for a long time, we couldn't quite identify what it was. We were just very much in like our FAFO era, like our fuck around, find out, I don't know, which is how I live my life, really. And, really coming into, at least in like the last, I'd say 2 or 3 months, we kind of think we know what we're doing now. Maybe.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it takes that amount of time, It's like they say the 10,000 hours, and then they debunked the 10,000 hours, so you don't need to have 10,000 hours to become an expert on something. And I think also, like, we probably put in our 10,000 hours before we started the podcast. It just wasn't in romance podcasting. Like, you have definitely spent 10,000 hours reading romance. Like, definitely.
I will take that on. Yes, thank you.
But also, like you said, we're business owners. I'm a marketer. You're an operations person. Like, we think in these terms. So while this did start as like, hey, we want to have a podcast that just feels like fun and just feels like we're talking about what's on our Kindles. And that was sort of the value prop at the beginning. But then I think our personalities sort of just came to light, and we're both analytical, and we both wanted to take these times. And like, I went back and looked, and our 7th episode was our first framework episode. It was yours. It was enemies to lovers.
Yeah.
And you were like, well, there's these 5 different types of enemies to lovers. And it was just always there. We just hadn't quite like honed in on how to articulate and describe it.
Yeah.
So, if I doubt many of you have been to our website lately to check out our header, but I did also update our podcast description. So I'm just going to like read it to y'all. So that way you have it.
This is the new.
First Dates and Soulmates is a podcast for people who love romance unapologetically, even if you're still hiding in your car to finish the steamy parts. Romance is the best-selling genre that props up the entire literary world, and it deserves to be taken seriously. We just don't think seriously has to mean without a lot of laughing. So this is the scholarship of smut served up with a side of strong opinions. And we wanted to play with like the intersection of craft and then pop culture. And what is romance doing as part of the cultural interface? And this is really, I think this has really come to light since maybe the vampires episode, I think. Yeah. Where you broke down these 4 different types of vampires and how over the past 200 years, the role of vampires has changed with cultural expectations. And then we sort of built on that with how are monsters part of this? How are minotaurs part of this? How are, you know, what happened during the pandemic? What happened in space? What happened with himbos? Like, why are some of these trends happening? And why are these movies popular? And why are some of these older movies really problematic? And we're looking at them now from a modern lens. And I think that is not something that I'm seeing in any other romance podcast in the space right now.
And I think it made it really easy too, because if I look at some of like the big romance podcasts in this category, you know, they're both like romance writers and they're best-selling authors. Like, okay, well, we're not that. You know, we're not narrators. We're not stand-up comedians, although I would call myself the funniest person in my friend group.
I would agree with that.
What are we, right? Like Meg is the writer who thinks about the marketing angle and how things are found. I'm the film nerd who's always going to be looking at production and cinematography and did you know this about so-and-so showed up in this TV show in 1998. And when we really started leaning into that a little bit more and just making it a more permanent part of the conversation, I think that's when we both started to have more fun. Because I don't think either one of us ever wanted to be like, this is a recap show.
No.
Like, that's not entertaining for either of us. And honestly, other people do that so much better.
They do.
But, yeah.
And I think also, like, there was a shift for me. I think it was in February, where I was asked by Allison Whaley, who we just had on as a guest. She and Bothered Stories were hosting a panel around, like, why does heated rivalry matter? And I was asked to be on the panel with 3 best-selling authors. And I did not appear as Meg Casebolt, pen name Bailey Seaborn, author, right? I appeared as First Dates and Soulmates, and on behalf of you. And I came on as a media analyst. And that was how I defined myself, and that category was very different than author, and I brought a different perspective to it because the way that we looked at heated rivalry wasn't just, oh, what happened in the story, or how close was it to the book. It was also like, why were these decisions made? How did this correlate to what's happening right now? How was the production done? You know, we looked at things much more holistically than just, you know, what happened frame by frame.
Yeah. And I, as we said, like, that's way more interesting because I've definitely got the 10,000 hours in terms of reading, watching. I'm a huge consumer of media. And then when you start bringing in, like, this is how you write and this is how you market. And now with your, here's a plug, Happily Ever Indie over on the Bailey Seaborn website, really going into how do romance authors get discovered on platforms like Amazon. Like, that I think it's a nice little happy marriage, you know? If we're going to talk about happy ever after, like, this is, I think, where it's fun. And it makes all of my rants about the Hays Code and Dutch angles and all of these other cinematography techniques, it makes it fit a little bit more rather than, why the fuck is Nikki ranting about camera angles again?
Well, I think also, like, we just talked a couple episodes ago in the Himbo episodes about, like, opposites attract and why pairings work the way that they do. And if I had started a podcast about romance with another romance author, it would have been more craft. And if you had started it with somebody else who was as much of a consumer of media as you are, then it would have been much more like pop culture, watch along. And I think the fact that both of us come to it from different spaces and bring different perspectives, including like, hey, have you seen this movie? No, I haven't.
AKA Meg has seen nothing. Is it not a kid's movie? Meg hasn't seen it.
If it's been put out in the last 10 years and it wasn't marketed to kids, it's highly unlikely that I saw it. So I think that our perspectives have really informed what makes this podcast unique. And so I'm excited to embark in year 3.
Look at us. We're kind of smart.
We think we're smart. We tell ourselves we're smart.
Every day, I'm very like into my self-affirmations. You're brilliant. You're smart. You're beautiful. You do nothing wrong. You can do everything you want. You know, that's how I live my life.
Do you tell yourself in front of the mirror?
Oh God, no. That's too weird.
Do you write it in lipstick?
No, I'll just as I'm kind of like, you know, Leonardo DiCaprio, like walking down the road. I'm just like, oh God, I'm good. God, I'm good. That's more my vibe.
I love it. Every time you're walking your dog, I'm just imagining your internal monologue.
Thank you. Yeah.
Let's talk about stats. Let's talk about how much we've grown and who is listening and what they're listening to. So, do you want to take a guess how much our subscribers have increased from year 1 to year 2?
Like percentage-wise?
Percentage. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say, I think, and this is for subscribers.
Subscribers on Substack.
Okay.
Not listeners, not followers. Substack.
I always think like for podcasts, it's a nice growth if you can get 5% growth.
We doubled our subscribers between year 1 and year 2.
Delightful.
Yeah, up 96% from year 1 to year 2.
Well done, folks. We appreciate
any
you.
guesses on our top 3? No, we'll do top 4 countries.
Canada, US.
Mm-hmm.
Australia.
Mm-hmm. One more.
Oh, is Australia in there?
Yeah, Australia was in there. One more.
The UK.
Yes, those are our top 4.
I was like top 4 English language countries. Is what I was thinking. Yeah.
65% US, 11% Canada, 3% UK, 2% Australia. And then, oh my gosh, this list. Nikki, this list. We have listeners in Spain, Vietnam, Germany, Japan, Ireland, France, Singapore, Belgium, Costa Rica, Russia, Nigeria, Sweden, Netherlands, India, Bangladesh, Mexico, Denmark, Brazil, Norway, the Philippines, and then it trails off to less than 1%. And I'm like, wow.
Bonjour. Wow. That's pretty intense. You know, I think sometimes when you're in a digital space, like we've spent most of our career, we look at things and we go, oh, it's only that much. But if you were to translate that into a real room, that would blow your mind. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, you know, I only had 100 people sign up for this workshop I did. Oh, that's not great. But if I had 100 people show up in a room with me, I'd be like, I am a fucking celebrity. I'm the coolest person on earth. So I think it's a nice reminder too that, you know, when it comes to stats in the podcast game, and I've never been particularly interested in the stats because they stress me out and I don't want to be like so type A, like overachieving child about them. But, you know, sometimes I may look at them and go, oh, you know, I wish we were bigger. I wish we were better. And I look at them and go, oh my God, I'm so grateful that even 5 people listen to this. Like, thank you.
Yeah. Especially because like this is a labor of love at this point. Yes, we have some affiliate income. Yes, we are hopefully getting more authors who are applying for sponsorships. We've had a couple applications we're going through now. But like, this isn't something that we're doing to monetize. This is something that we're doing because we spend so much of our days doing much less sexy options.
It's true. And also I just need like an outlet to talk about all the stuff.
Exactly. I don't want to say like boring because it's just different, but like it's nice to have something that we do regularly that we put out that's just joyful, that's just fun. All right. Do you want to take a guess in our top 10 episodes of 20? Okay, there's one that was in 2024 that is still ranking.
So just like year 2.
Just year 2.
I'm going to say all episodes. 3 of our Heated Rivalry episodes.
1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, there you go. I knew it.
but not in the order that I expected. It was episodes 1 and 2, episodes 5 and 6, episodes 3 and 4.
Oh, that makes sense because like, you know, a lot of people didn't love Kit and Scott as much, and that kind of like that falls in that one.
Yeah, and I think also they may have listened to episode 1 and then like just wanted to get to the cabin.
Yeah, cottage, dude. Cottage.
Oh my God, how
failure.
How dare I?
Failure.
Loons. Forgive me, loons.
I'm gonna say probably another top 10 episode is gonna be one of the Bridgertons. I feel like our season 4, Bridgerton, did pretty well. I don't know if it was part 1 or part 2.
Bridgerton season 4 part 1 was number 5. Bridgerton season 4 part 2 was number 10.
Ooh, okay. Yep. See, this makes sense to me. I'm trying to remember the other.
We have 2 interviews.
2 interviews. Okay. I'm trying to remember, who did we interview last year? Matt Wardell, maybe.
He was not in the top 10.
Drea, like Olivia Carter.
No, but she was on the Heated Rivalry episodes, but no.
I'm trying. Who else? I don't even remember who else we interviewed.
Okay, so number 4 was Eden Finley.
Oh, she's still ranking because that was over a year
last
old.
August. So I was just looking at the number of listens in the last year, and then Rockstar Romance with Jessica Topper. That was number 8.
Very fun. Okay, very sports based.
Yeah. Well, I
Top
mean,
10.
what is the modern, like, it's a sports romance industrial complex, really.
Ooh, I like that.
Hockey romance, really.
Yeah, really.
Okay, and then speaking of hockey romance, number 5 was our L. Kennedy, The Deal, and Him. And I do want to point out Sarina Bowen was the co-author of Him, too. It wasn't
You are
just
correct.
L. Kennedy.
Yeah.
And then the last one in the top 10 from 2025 was, or from year 2, I should say, was People We Meet on Vacation.
Surprising.
I know. But, I mean, I think that when the episodes are timely, we see spikes to them.
Yeah, because like people are looking it up, and that was a very popular book, even if the adaptation did not quite succeed.
Yeah. Emily Henry is, I mean, she's big name. Any guesses what our only year 1 podcast episode was that broke the top 10 for people still listening in year 2?
Oh my God, is it Heartless by Elsie Silver?
It is!
Oh my God, that one's never going away. That was like in our, what episode number was that?
Oh,
like it was
I don't
fucking
know.
Early on.
It was September. It was September because that was our Books We Love, Tropes We Hate series. And I just apparently landed on one that other people love, even if they don't hate the trope that goes with it.
Jesus, that is from September of 2024.
Yeah.
And it's still hanging around.
What episode number? Did you look it up?
21.
Jeez.
Episode 21, and we're at like 108, 107.
Yeah, 108.
Jesus.
And that's how it works too. It's like these spikes that stick around forever if you just hit the target right. So with that in mind, here's how they're finding it. This is something that you didn't do last year, but like,
because I don't know how. Let's be real.
I'm an SEO nerd, right? So our top keywords that people are finding us for in Google. I'm going to tell you, we rank number 5 for Heartless Elsie Silver tropes.
That's why that episode is still getting traffic.
Exactly, because people are looking for what the tropes are in Heartless, and then they're coming over and listening to the episode. So
beautiful.
If that's how you found us, and you like an accidental pregnancy, then God bless you. Elsie Silver does it really well. It's just maybe isn't my favorite selection. Sweet Home Alabama, we ranked number 12 somehow.
Wow. And that's a more recent episode. I bet they're going to, I hope they, if they search that because they like that movie and then they listen to our episode on it.
Maybe you'll convert someone else to like, oh, this is actually not what I remembered it being.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's a little bit of a shocker.
This one surprised me. We're number 9 for 1940s rom-coms.
I tell you, our rom-com through the ages series is one that I love doing because it's super nerd safari, which I like.
Yeah, I like tracking how things change too and how the culture shifts. We're number 11 for Pounded by Produce. Like the name of the book.
Oh my God.
That's not going away, Nikki, as much as you want.
You know what? I love our American Thanksgiving tradition of like weird food porn. That one, when I later found out it actually was a VeggieTales fanfic. Like, because I never watch VeggieTales. I don't have kids, and I was never around kids when VeggieTales was, like, really popular. But when someone commented, like, oh, it sounds like VeggieTales, and I looked it up, and, like, literally the tomato and cucumber are named Robert and Lawrence, and I was like, oh, no, this was legitimately VeggieTales porn. Interesting. And then I just started thinking about musical numbers in my head of, like, what would have happened if the cucumber and the tomato started dancing.
I'm glad they didn't go there.
Yeah, well, they did vibrate at some point.
I had enough issues with the priesthood. I didn't also need them to break into song. All right. 4 more keywords. Number 9, Saxon James Eden Finley universe.
Oh,
so people are finding us, and that's how they're getting to Eden's episode. And then we have 3 top 10 heated rivalry keywords. Do you want to guess, or should I just tell you what they are?
Just tell me what they are, because I don't even know.
Number one term that we get found for. This is the brings in the
Hockey
most
butt.
traffic to our website.
Hockey butt.
Heated rivalry cuck chair.
You are welcome.
Number 7. Go look for it. You'll find us there.
I did that. You're welcome.
You did. Number 3
Jesus.
for heated rivalry dildo. Thank you. Mm-hmm. And number 7 for heated rivalry butts.
Oh my God. I've never been more proud of us than in this moment.
When we decided 2.5 years ago to start a podcast, did you know that we would rank for heated rivalry butts? Or cuck chairs? I mean,
I'm more surprised about the cuck chair because that is a niche reference, right? Like you have to be deep in the fandom if that's going to be something that you're searching for, versus hockey butts, a little bit more common, cottage, etc. But you know what? I'm going to take that. I might put that like in my email signature. Like shout
put it on
that
your
out.
Gravestone.
Yeah.
Known for the heated rivalry cuck chair. No, but that's actually why it's... I'm not going to get super marketing nerdy, but that's why it's easier to rank for. Is not as many people are talking about cuck chairs as there are about dildos and butts. God, thank God that we go deep. You know, that's our benefit.
That's what she said.
Mm-hmm. All right, we had 10 guests in year 2. So we already named 2 of them. We talked about Eden. We talked about Jessica. We also had Dr. Fandom, Katie Freund.
Katie Freund.
In episode 60, we had Olivia Carter, the pen name for Andrea Jones. 67, Eden. We had 70, Matt Wardell, M.A. Wardell. In 80, we had only James. I called guests because we had Andrea come back for 82, 84, 88 for Heated Rivalry. We're just going to call that 1. 85, we had Nora Pritchard talking about small town and holiday romance. In 87, we had Sarah Ferrandina, who was talking about the Buffalo Bills movie on Hallmark. And 101, recently, we had AJ Claremont, which was Megan Flatt. So,
wow. We had some good guests in year 2.
20% of our episodes were guests, which is... nice that we get to highlight people, but also not be only guests. We still get to have time with just the 2 of us. Our retrospective continues. We launched a new website this year. I pulled together
big up to Meg, who did 100% of that work, and I did absolutely nothing on it.
You built the visual brand beforehand. You were the one who came up with the color palette and the fonts and the everything for that. So I could not have done that part without you. I'm giving whatever credit I can. Built the playlists, the 8 playlists, and the quiz. So we've had a couple hundred people go through the quiz. Do you want to know like what people have qualified for? Yeah. We have 27% are holiday heartthrob. 21% are fake dating, 15% are queer romance, 10% are love undercover or sort of like secret romance or love that is forbidden, we'll say. 10% are historical lovers, 7.5% are the red flag alpha hero lovers.
I'm actually surprised that's not higher.
I know. 7% is paranormal and 3% is rock stars.
Interesting.
I am planning to put together a sports one, like a sports ball.
I feel like we've done enough on sports now, and sports is popular. Like it is a fairly popular genre. That would be a good one to put into the next iteration.
Yeah, I wonder how that's gonna. I should like probably reset it at that point and see just how much comes up as like hockey. Well, just hockey. Is it like? Do people even read football and baseball?
Oh yeah, football.
They?
I'd say football and hockey are probably the top 2, and then you're gonna get into baseball, rugby.
I feel like all I see is hockey.
Yeah, I'd say I think football and hockey are probably the biggest ones. Like I started reading one that has a football player in it this morning. So it's
American football too.
American football, yeah. Not as much. There are some soccer. There is rugby. Like Jay Hogan has a great Aussie, Kiwi, Tasmanian rugby series. That's Auckland Hospital, I think. It's a good series. A lot of rugby. Yeah, I'd say sports is I think really easy to put settings into, because if you never know what to do with a character, they have to go to a game. Yep. Off they go.
They get hurt.
Yeah, there you go.
Then you have caretaker dynamics. Another part of our retrospective is I went through and figured out how many frameworks we have developed.
We are frameworks nerds. I have no idea how many we've done.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
We've done 8?
Have 8 of them that are like unique frameworks just for us. And the reason that I know this is because my day job is discoverability, right? It's writing content, creating content so that way you can show up in search results. That's why I know where to look up that we show up number 7 for the heated rivalry cuck chair. And so one of the things that I did over the past couple months as part of this like brand refresh is I took all of our frameworks and wrote them up as legitimate like framework structure blog posts, gave them names, gave them titles, submitted them to search. Because I want people to not just find us for just dildos. They can still find us for heated rivalry.
We are more than just dildos, y'all.
We are more than dildos. We are dildos and frameworks. We do not have a framework about dildos at the present time. But I want people who are like, especially AI search is a place where you can have a conversation. And more people are using AI for search. I want them to be able to go in and be like, I was really disappointed by this fake dating romance. Why? And have AI pull our fake dating framework, which is called the Faking It framework, that explains what are the core elements of fake dating. Mm-hmm. And what happens if you don't hit all 8 of the elements of the Faking It framework? And what are our recommendations for fake dating that do actually satisfy those requirements?
This is very scientific.
I know.
Sometimes I was like, we're really smart.
Well, this is the scholarship of smut. But let me tell you what the frameworks are.
Yes, hit me with it.
Can you name what we already named one, which is the enemies to lovers framework.
Enemies to lovers, faking it, fake dating. Mm-hmm. Second chance.
Yep.
Did we do
and
one?
Archetypes. There are some.
Yeah, vampire.
Yep.
Soon to be himbo. Mm-hmm. Did you do space as one of them?
I didn't.
Okay, because that's more recent.
Yes, I did monster.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one.
The last 2 are friends to lovers.
Oh, I forgot we did that as a separate one.
Which is called the gamble framework because you're gambling your friendship and it has a nice little acronym that goes with it, which I'm happy to read if you're curious. And the other one is queer awakening. We're calling the framework the identity disco.
Oh, yeah. I remember the identity disco. We did that during, I think it was Pride Month last year.
Yes, you said it during the episode, and I was like, okay, that's the name of the framework. That's got to be it.
The identity disco. We are sparkly, and we're having a dance party as we do this. Oh, that's delightful. Exactly. I love that came back around because I made myself giggle when I came up with identity disco.
When I went back and listened to the episode to be like, what is this a full framework? Is this a way of thinking? Like, could we build this into something that's more substantial? I was like laughing out loud at your identity discos.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah. And then, and you talked about like secret identity because we did like secret billionaire, secret royalty.
Yeah, but that wasn't strong enough to be a framework episode.
Oh, not yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had to really think through like what is unique about our perspective in it, and is there something that can be applied more cross-culturally about it? If you're curious, they're all on our website. They're all publicly available to be indexed because I kind of feel like if we're going to build out all these episodes, why not build the playlist? Why not build the frameworks? Why not turn them into something?
This is why you're in marketing.
We have 100 episodes, and I don't want people to feel like, God, where do I start? You know?
Valid. There's a lot. And I think it's always, I always think about this with growth. Like there's certain podcasts, like I hate it, but I love it. I have been listening to them for over 7 years. I've supported them on Patreon for 7 years. And as much as I love them, when you go back to some of the early episodes, you're like, like I can tell you've obviously hit your stride 7 years later. Same for us. Yeah. I can't really go back and listen to like the first year of our episodes. I listen to every episode when it comes out. Like today at the time we're recording, our 1960s episode just came out. So I was listening to it this morning. And like, I always listen to them, and there's always, I'm very critical of myself because I am a performer. I'm always listening back and saying, oh, I didn't really ask that very succinctly. Or why did I ramble about that for so long? Or I really wish I'd put things in this way, or I had described it this way first. It's really hard for me to go back and listen to some of our early episodes because we just didn't know yet. Like we were getting into a vibe, like we had literally just met a few months before. So it's not like we had 8 years of friendship to like pull on as our foundation. So as proud as I am of pretty much everything we've done, because it was work, we did really like it. It is still very hard for me to listen to, I'll say, the first year. Because we didn't know yet. We did not know yet.
I think for me, it's like the first 6 months. I think we started to hit our stride a little bit and figure out what it was that set us apart. But I think also, like, we have been really fortunate, especially this year, and this is fully your purview and your awareness, to like lean into the cultural moments. You know, even 2 years ago, the reason that we launched in May was because Bridgerton season 3 came out in May. And you were like, we need to watch Bridgerton season, or maybe it came out in June, and we wanted to read. Mm-hmm. We wanted to do a full episode on Bridgerton.
We did the Bridgerton prosaic universe first, because we talked about kind of the entire series, and then we did the season itself, which that was one of our first kind of bigger episodes.
It was like 3 or 4 episodes that we did the full Bridgerton piece. And like, I hadn't read all the Bridgerton, I still haven't read all the Bridgerton books, but you kind of came in and were like, this is how it works, and I was like, yes, I'm gonna love having a podcast with somebody who shows up prepared and has notes and has the full everything ready to go. But you're right, that like we didn't know. And then I think also romance and romance media has changed in 2 years. Not just Bridgerton, because I think if we had started 5 years ago, we would have started with Bridgerton season 1, we would have done Queen Charlotte, we would have done some of the same things there. But, you know, Heated Rivalry, I think, changed a lot. And there's more, like, Netflix movies are getting a bigger attention. So the fact that People We Meet on Vacation just went direct to Netflix and we were able to talk about that right away, like, that may not have been possible that long ago. But I think Heated Rivalry changed the way that people are talking about romance, and we just happen to have been in the right place at the right time to see some of that viral spike too.
Mm-hmm. And you know, it's also, there's something I think when it comes to, I'll say, podcasting and content creation, it is that mix of what is strategic and will help growth, visibility, audience expansion, etc., and what do you just like want to do because it's what you want to do. And I think that's something we've definitely tried to play around with more in the last year, is the timeliness of things, right? Like with Heated Rivalry, it was very much like, okay, we're going to watch it, and like 3 days later we're recording it. Meg, you've got 36 hours to edit this audio so that we can get it live, like, quickly. We did it with all of the Heated Rivalries, like every other week, because we did 2 episodes at a time with that, not weekly. We did it with Bridgerton season 4. We did it with People We Meet on Vacation. Last week, I believe, is when the off-campus episode aired.
Yes.
Yeah, same deal. Like, we haven't recorded it yet because it's not out yet, but that is also going to be like a quick turnaround time. Not like a 3-day turnaround, because it's 8 episodes, I think. And you need time to watch them because you have children. I don't. I can sit on the couch and watch all of it at once. But like, we're really trying to say, you know, we do want to get more eyeballs on things. So there is that strategic piece of what can we talk about, because it's going to be on social media. It's going to be in the zeitgeist. It's going to be on threads. People are going to be Googling for it. So how do we take advantage of that?
How do we show up for the cuck chairs?
Yes, right? Everybody needs to show up for the cuck chairs. And originally, when Unrivaled, the next Heated Rivalry book, was going to come out, I think the original release date was this September. That originally was the plan. I'm like, okay, if it comes out on this Thursday, we're recording on it on Monday. So Meg, like, your husband's got the kids for 2 days because we need to read that book and turn it around really quickly. Now, the publication date has been moved off, but we are thinking about those things. Next week, we have an episode coming out on Love and Romance Toronto, which is the romance show convention that's going to be in Toronto that I'm going to. And, you know, airing interviews and kind of what happened there. Again, trying to really ride the wave of people are already going to be posting this, already going to be talking about it. How do we jump in on that? And then there's a lot of releases coming later this year, like the Love Hypothesis movie is going to be coming out at some point. I don't think they've gotten a release date.
We haven't gotten a release date, but Wuthering
Practical
Heights
Magic 2.
Sense and Sensibility, Pride
Wuthering
and
Heights is, I think, already out. The Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi version. But like, there's a Sense and Sensibility retelling that's coming out later this year. There's more. I think Talia Hibbert has a new book coming out this year. Like, there's a lot of stuff coming out. So part of it is also what is just going to be searchable, what is going to be findable, what are people going to be looking for, and what can we do to make it as fun and as easy as possible for us to jump on that train.
Yeah, and I think also, like, and I wrote a whole blog post about this for my business blog, using this as the example, is that you can't just chase the trends, because then you won't be seen as trustworthy. You need to have some consistency underneath it. And then when you are able to hit a trend at the right time, then you'll see a spike because you've already established yourself as an expert on the topic. So the fact that we have these, you know, Bridgerton spikes, we have the heated rivalry spikes, we have the kind of cultural timeline sensitive spikes, but then we continue to talk about romance for the rest of the year, means that when people are trending, or when a topic is trending, we're more likely to show up because we already have the foundations there. We're not starting from zero on, you know, the heated rivalry fans Instagram, and all we can talk about is heated rivalry, which, like, could have gotten us a huge following, but I think I would have not been excited about it all the time.
No, and also that fandom has gotten, like, real toxic the last couple months. Like, it's not in a good place right now, and this always happens when things get really popular, is people go too far. People go way too far. And it's, I think, caused a lot of people to actually now disengage from the fandom, which is not what we want. We want the show to remain being successful because the creators, the showrunners, the actors, they're fabulous. But, oh man, for, like, my mental health, I've honestly had to pull back from a lot of that stuff on Threads because I was like, fuck all of you guys. Like, what is wrong with you?
Well, I think also, like, when there's something new coming out, it's exciting and you want to talk about it. But then when you're just like, let me nitpick, and let me, like, figure out everything that could be wrong with it to create some sort of hot take, that's the part of the culture that I just want to disengage with. Yeah,
I think parasocial relationships often go way too far.
Yeah.
In many ways, it started to feel like baby's first fandom. It's like you just don't know how to engage with a fandom. And for people who have been around since, you know, like the original, I'll call it rise of fandom with Star Trek and anime in the 90s and fanfiction.net into AO3, like, toxic fandom is a subject for another day, but it's definitely kind of popped up more here because it was so big so quickly.
Yeah.
Toxic fandom still exists for things like Star Wars and big tentpole things, MCU as well. But those have been, like, consistent burns, which is where heated rivalry was, like, it exploded. It brought in, like, people, like, discovering it, and that was amazing. They were supporting the show so great, supporting the cast, amazing. And then it turned proprietary and weird. So no thank you.
Maybe we should have back Dr. Fandom to talk about toxic
honestly
fandoms.
She's definitely got some info on it.
I'm sure she does.
Katie, expect my message.
So that actually brings us to some good points. You know, you brought up that next week you're going to be recording from a live con. You know, you're going to have that footage to bring into this. What else are we thinking about for the year ahead? What else is coming up that we want to see in year 3 of First Dates and Soulmates?
Yeah, I would like to do more, like, interviews. And we've always gone back and forth on, like, what makes a compelling interview. And I've always been on the thing of, I don't really just want to talk to people about their books. Like, that's fine, but anybody can do that. It's more like the bigger picture of, almost like what we did with Allison Whaley and Bothered Stories. It was less talk to us about bothered stories and how you do it. And also more like, where does short erotic fiction fit into things? How is it used? How is it talked about? We got into some really interesting discussions on how different groups could use it and what does it mean for creators and how they do things and the standards of writing. Like, that's way more interesting to me. So I would love to, you know, we've already got some authors on the calendar for the rest of this year. I'm hoping that when I get to go to Love and Romance Toronto and some other events, to be able to meet more people and say, hey, like, love to bring you on, but also to talk to people who aren't in the book space about romance. You know, people who are comedians, actors, media analysts, like anybody who works in, like, the entertainment industry or entertainment field who just has an opinion about something. Okay, can I tell you, one of my dream guests is Isabel Klee.
Okay, we're going to manifest this.
AKA Simon Sits on Instagram. So at the time of this recording, her book came out yesterday, which is Dogs, Boys, and Other Things I've Cried About. And I've bought 2 copies, one for me, one for my friend's birthday. And she has a smutty book club. And she talks all the time about how this is the smutty romance she's reading. She was talking about A Court of Thorn and Roses. She's talking about the romance book she's reading. So I know she's a romance fan. I want to have Isabel on this show so bad, but I'm sorry. She is doing so well right now with this book release. And she just announced, I think last week, that her book is getting a TV show deal.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Yeah, it's going to be like a fiction show, not a reality show. It's going to be following the adventures of this young 20-something in New York City, boyfriends, dogs, dating, all these things. So like one of my dream guests would be Isabel, to bring her on and say, like, talk to me about the smut that you read, like talk to me about the book club that you have and that you've had for a while. So Isabel would definitely, like, she's a writer, but she's a nonfiction writer. She's not a romance writer, but she loves the genre. And I was like, oh my God. So Isabel, if you ever want to talk to some super fans who also have really cute dogs about romance, I'm putting this out into the universe.
Yeah, I would love to talk to non-romance writers about romance. And I would also love to talk to romance writers about, like, not their books, but why did they choose to engage with romance as a genre? Or, like, there's BookCon just happened at the time that we're recording this, and now I'm on Threads because I'm on Threads. And there's been so much, like, authors' experiences of being at a table. And I'm thinking about this because, you know, you're going to Love and Romance next week. Like, being at a table and having people, like, walk up filming you and expect you to be a performer and not just an author. Because
talking about toxic fandom, man.
And like posting, they didn't smile at me or they didn't wave back. And it's like, well, I didn't see you wave at me. And like, I'm allowed to be a human. And especially like authors of color who are being told that they didn't smile. And then I'm like, well, that's bullshit.
Oh, go fuck
like,
yourself.
If there are those types of experiences that we can bring to light of not just the toxic fandoms, but like, what are the things that people are doing to sell their books? I would love to have those conversations too, if it makes sense, and say, you know, what is it even like to stand on a convention floor for 16 hours and talk to everybody who comes up and need to be on for all of them? Because Nikki, I'm just talking to you for an hour, and I sometimes am done for the day after that.
And like I've worked many trade shows with my job, so I know exactly what it's like to be at a booth for 10, 16 hours and have to talk and smile and give your pitch to everybody that goes by. Like, y'all, it is exhausting.
But also, like, you're not the product in that case. Whereas for authors, it's like, yes, the book is the product, but also you are, like, the experience of getting a picture with you or getting a selfie with you or whatever it can be, or video of you looking like a bitch that you can post for your own benefit, which is bullshit.
I would not come out well on that. Like, I have resting bitch face and I run out of people energy really quickly. So it's like, hi, I'm so happy to see you. My face is not going to reflect that at all. And this is my joyful face. I'm so pleased that you're here. But this is it.
I can turn it on. I would turn it on. I just, like, it would drain me for a week. You know?
But yeah.
And nobody, people are actually talking about that. I was about to say nobody talks about that. They definitely are talking about that. But like, that might be an interesting conversation. Or, you know, how do books get adapted? Or who are the showrunners that are making those decisions? And, you know, if we want to talk to people about trad publishing and how those deals are made and rights, and like, I'd be open to any of those conversations too, as well as what's in the books. But like, the behind the scenes of them would be interesting as well. So if you're hearing this and going, oh, I can talk about that, First Dates and Soulmates pod at gmail.com. Please don't send us a cold pitch that doesn't use our names or spells our names wrong or clearly makes it clear that you haven't listened to anything, because I'm so sick of that shit.
Oh my God. We get so many that like, hello, author, we'd like to promote your book. And it's like, you're not emailing the author in this. You're just, you literally just scraping the internet for these email addresses. And it's like, okay. We know how this works, y'all. This is what we do for our jobs. Like,
yeah. I know how to write a cold email pitch because I've spent 10 years writing email pitches and none of them are cold. You have to do a minimum amount of research. So
just an itty little bit of research. It's fine.
But if you're listening to this, then you probably already know that. You're already a listener. So you're one step ahead of most of what lands in our inbox.
It's true. It's true. But yeah, I think new guests, new formats, expanded audience, playing around with different ways of presenting information. All on my list for the rest of this year. Very, very fun.
And I will also say, because I do the long form YouTube and you do the YouTube shorts. That YouTube shorts, I think it's doing really well for us right now. So if you're not following us on YouTube, go over and check out all Nikki's hard work. Especially if you're a person like me who's like, I don't want to be on social media. I just want to see the basics of what's going on. Come on over and follow us on YouTube. That's a great place to hang out. Or if you are on Threads, both of us are on Threads now. Nikki is running the First Dates and Soulmates account. She is kicking ass with recommendations and ideas of what she's reading and requesting feedback that we're able to integrate into episodes. So if you are like, I don't want to be on an episode, I just want to have my opinion heard on an episode, I want to weigh in on it, go follow First Dates and Soulmates on Threads. That brings me to what I'm doing right now also. Bring it. If you're on Threads and you follow Bailey Seaborn Author, I have started sort of a new initiative in the past month. Nikki already talked about it. It's called Happily Ever Indie. I was scrolling through the gram when I was on vacation in March and saw a bunch of people saying things like, well, trial reels suck, but I have to do them because the Amazon algorithm is completely unknowable and unpredictable. And as I've shared a couple times, I work with algorithms all day, every day, and try to help people show up and be discovered in search. So I created a bit of a new sub-brand. It's called Happily Ever Indie. I already have 26 blog posts on baileyseaborn.com that are all devoted to how does the Amazon algorithm work, what matters about the Amazon algorithm, specifically for romance authors. And what are the things that you need to do to get your book to show up in search results? And how do you organize that information? And what exactly are the categories and the shelves? And how do you write your blurb so that people will actually read it? And then once you get some of that language and marketing speak down, then it can also play into your other marketing. It can float into your Instagram stories once you know how to describe what it is that you're doing. So that's all completely free. It's over at baileyseaborn.com. You can just click on the Happily Ever Indie. It's right there at the top of the page. And you can also I put together a free checklist for authors. It's like a 3-page checklist of how to optimize your pages so that way Amazon's more likely to recommend them. So that's free all over at baileyseaborn.com. we were going to do this episode sponsored by Happily Ever Indie, right? Because we can.
I like it a lot. So Meg, you created this retrospective of our second year. What do you ship the most about this show? Shouting ourselves out.
God, it sounds so fucking cheesy.
No, do
to
it.
Say.
Do it. Cheese. It's romance.
Spending time with you?
You're right. That's cheesy, but I like it.
I mean, like, I love the other authors. I love that we get to have these conversations. I love that we have listeners who are reacting and responding to it. All of that is amazing. But, like, the thing that I look forward to the most is, like, every other Wednesday, I get to see my Nikki and have my Nikki time. And I look forward to it. And I know that even though there are times where you're like, Meg, I don't have the podcast yet. I'm like, God damn it, I'm finishing the editing, right? And so there is that sort of time crunch. I always look forward to recording. And I hope that, you know, the joy of romance and the joy of friendship like carries through in the actual episodes and people can feel that. And I think that might be when you were saying like it's hard to go back and listen to those first couple episodes. It's like we weren't as close of friends then. We had so much in common, but we didn't have that shared language and that shared understanding of, oh, someone's walking by Nikki's house, so she's gonna pause because I know her dog's gonna start barking.
Very
you know,
true.
that side of things.
Yeah.
But what about you, Nikki? What do you ship the most about?
Oh my God, I feel like I have to say you now, otherwise I look weird.
No,
like,
you don't. No, you can just say ditto, and then you can say whatever you want, and that way you get away with it. But
no, I think it really is. To kind of go along with what you said. It is this now that we have this like this focus or this point of view that is more on the interplay of culture and craft. Like I think everything just it feels better to do. And it feels easier to talk about things because it's not as broad. I think I've thought a lot about this in my business over the last like 8 months. I don't ever want to niche down in audience because that sounds boring, but I want to niche down in belief. Like this is the thing I believe. So how do I build my business around that being the foundational belief of how I think businesses should work versus I help 35-year-old e-commerce managers who go to Starbucks and Pilates and drink oat milk lattes. Like, who gives a fuck? But I'm like, if there are people who believe in X, Y, and Z and see that as the solution, then that's who I want to work with. And I think this is kind of the same thing. Like when we have this intersection that really does cover like the personal, the political, the craft, the culture, the inside, the outside, like that is way more fun for me to think about and go on little nerd safaris. So that's definitely a ship for me.
Yeah, nerd safaris and not just read-alongs. Absolutely.
There you go. We like it. Amazing. Well, here's to another year of First Dates and Soulmates. Thank you so much, Soulmates, for coming along with us, for sticking through us, for finding us through cuck chairs and dildos. Thank you, I guess. You're welcome for all of that. And I guess if you're here from Elsie Silver, like, yay, surprise pregnancies too. Have fun. Before we get into the question of what we're shipping this week, you know what would make this second anniversary so cool? Other than a huge bottle of champagne and like a fancy dinner out, I would love it. We would love it. We would love you if you would head on over to your podcast provider of choice, leave us a rating, leave us a review, subscribe. It helps all the algorithm things that, you know, Meg has figured Amazon out. We've figured podcasts out. You know what does it? Ratings, reviews, and subscriptions. We would so appreciate you for doing that. And let's get into our ships of the week. I have one ready if you want me to start.
Yeah, go for it.
So I have two ships this week, if I may. The first I talked about on Threads, and it is The Island by Briar Prescott. I'm a huge fan of Briar Prescott. The first book I read of Briar's was Project Hero. Huge fan. The Island, what an emotional roller coaster of a fucking book. So it is friends to lovers yearning. You know, you have, in simplest terms, the straight friend and the gay friend. And the gay friend has been in love with a straight friend their entire life because he had a shitty childhood. And this boy lived next door with his outgoing, amazing family. But, you know, this man he's been in love with is engaged to a woman and it's heartbreaking. And he says, okay, I'm going to need to have to separate a little bit from this so I can just survive. But then they decide to go on his bachelor trip together. And they fly overseas for this bachelor party. They get into a little puddle jumper to go somewhere. And then there's a plane crash. And they are the only survivors. Their pilot is killed. And they end up washed up on this island.
Oh, man. I knew it was called The Island, but I thought it was just going to be an island vacation. I did not expect like a stranded.
It is a stranded. And y'all, just, you know, spoilers for The Island. They are there for several years. This is not like I'm there for a month, then we get rescued. They are there. I believe it's 2 years or just over 2 years. And eventually, you know, things happen on the island. They start connecting through not only trauma, but the fact that they are on a very small island and they're the only people there. There's medical danger, there's environmental danger, there's food and water scarcity. They're missing their family and then dealing with the new things in their relationship. And when they get rescued, and go back home, it's how do we readjust to family, to his fiance, to the extremely codependent nature of the relationship that came out of survival. What did they do next? It's a romance. You know how it's going to end. But let me tell you, I had to kind of read a double speed skip through some of the time on the island because it was just so fucking stressful. It's very Tom Hanks Castaway, but sexy. But it's a great book. If you like, y'all know I love yearning. And this has that in spades while they're on the island and when they get back and they're trying to find out what that new normal is. So it is emotionally a lot, but it is an extremely satisfying ending. And it's a well-earned and hard-fought ending. So that's definitely one of my ships this week, The Island by Briar Prescott. But my second ship, if I may, is in the next couple of days at the time of this release, my new podcast is launching. I've been saying for a long time I didn't want to do another business podcast. I had one a couple years ago, and even then it wasn't super business, but I'm at the stage of where my business is and where I want to go next and how I want to, you know, I'm looking at building my own VC fund. I'm getting into a couple of different business opportunities, but what I still love is storytelling. So I have a new podcast coming out that really gets to satisfy my need for behind the scenes, how does shit work? And it is called Would Recommend, Real Stories from Businesses Worth Talking About. So I
love
get
that
to,
name.
Thank
I love
you. Because it's like, you know, the best possible businesses are ones that people recommend. You recommend it to your friends. It shows up with 5-star ratings on Google. We have that 10 out of 10 would recommend. Like if I like something, I'm going to tell fucking everybody about it. And that's kind of the impetus behind this show. So I work in customer experience operations. I help people build companies that other people talk about. And very selfishly, I want to go behind the scenes and learn how those businesses do things, right? We think of some of the big people like Disney. Disney parks are known for their training and focus on the customer experience. But how do Pilates studios owners do it? How do stationery company owners do it? How do children's TV writers do it? What about morticians, funeral directors, boutique hotel owners, massage therapists, personal trainers, event coordinators? Like how do they create experiences that people would recommend? So that show is dropping sometime in the next couple of days. At the time of this recording, I haven't finalized the first air date because I'm still recording interviews right now. But if you want stories from businesses that are doing amazing, innovative things, and you're looking to get ideas, inspiration, just like learn some cool shit behind the scenes, hie thee over to your podcast provider of choice and check out my new show, Would Recommend. And if it's live, at the time this goes live, I will link it in the show notes. If not, I'll do it later. And yes, those are my ships this week. Meg, what about you? What you be shipping?
I'm so excited about your new podcast. I can't wait to
I am excited. Some of the guests I have and guests I have introductions hopefully coming to. I am at this moment 2 degrees away from an executive at Disney. So like that's really where I'm trying to play in there. But some of the people I have already booked or I've already interviewed, like y'all, there's some really cool shit that's coming down. So I am excited for it.
I'm so excited. Okay. My ship this week is The Best Men by Lauren Blakely and Sarina Bowen. It's a co-write. Apparently I'm just on a Sarina Bowen co-write thing lately. But it is the story of 2 best men in a wedding. One of them is the groom's best friend from childhood. The other one is the bride's brother. And they are both living in New York City at the time, and they have to go down early and set up the wedding in advance. It's all been planned, but they're just going to be the ones that have the time off to go down and set up the wedding. So they go down to Miami early, and they sort of like have a crush on each other. They have some pining, they have some longing. They get stuck in the guest house together. They do not get stuck on an island together. Thank you. They spend 5 days together, not 2 years together. And, you know, they sort of hook up, but then their lives take them back apart. So one of them lives in New York City with a daughter. He's recently divorced. And the other one gets this amazing career move to like be a globally known photographer for like basically like FIFA, right? Like this giant brand that involves a lot of travel. And so they have to navigate that too. So it's the start of a new relationship, but it's also some long distance, some difficulty, but the chemistry's there. They originally don't like each other, and then they end up, obviously we know it's a romance, they end up together in a really beautiful, heartfelt way that feels real. So highly recommend that. That is The Best Men by Sarina Bowen and Lauren Blakely.
Delightful. I love that so much. Well, thank you, Soulmates, for coming along on this 2-year journey with us. Thank you, Meg, for preparing this epic retrospective. Before we head out, if you'd like to support the show, you can do so for free. Rate, review, and subscribe on your podcast provider of choice. Tell a friend. Bring us more soulmates. We're very much into the polyamorous structure of podcast fandom. Follow us on social media. We are at First Dates and Soulmates on most platforms. And if you do have a little bit of money to send our way, you can check out our merch store on TeePublic. It's linked in the show notes. We are now offering show sponsorships. Meg's put together some most excellent resources on our website at firstdatesandsoulmates.com. You can also subscribe to the show on Substack. Do it for 1 month. Do it for many months. We're just so happy that you are here for 2 years. 2 whole years. And coming
2 whole years.
2 whole motherfucking years. And then coming up next week, as we said, I will be your on the floor correspondent at Love and Romance Toronto. At the time of this recording, it hasn't happened yet. I have no idea what's going to happen. We're going to roll with it, but that'll be Love and Romance Toronto coming up next week. We will see you then. Bye.